And
Yeah.
I exercise, and yet you're still obese. So we're saying we can change. We need to change our perspectives. We need to understand that this is a multifactorial thing, like just mentioned. Even prenatal events affect obesity. And
When you say prenatal events,
that means
please,
people,
in English,
things that happen while you are in the womb. You just mentioned pregnancy. That's why I brought that up.
yeah.
Now, women that have obesity, excess weight gain in pregnancies, these children were studied over time, and they found that those children, when adults, had a tendency to have cardiovascular diseases just because of maternal obesity, maternal nutrition. These studies have been carried out.
Okay.
And they're finding out that what you do in pregnancy, that excess weight gain, that poor food choices in pregnancy, is not only about you. It affects you, it affects the unborn child. So that's why we're saying obesity. Sometimes we have also found that, like you mentioned now, some children, because of the environment they've lived, what they've been exposed to contributes to their being obese in adulthood. So we're saying,
you now see pictures of someone and the person is looking lanky as a child, but you're looking at the adults and you're like, how come now?
That's why I'm saying it's multifactorial. So it's not just because there are a lot of factors we need to consider. Another thing is the healthcare access. Now, a lot of people, like we said, the paradigm is eat less, exercise more. And so a lot of people just ignore it's your responsibility. You are the one that's making yourself fat. Oh, it's not true. There's so many factors, and we need to find out what exactly is the problem with you, so that you can address that particular thing.
Okay, so that's why someone is obese, you have to go and meet a doctor
that understands obesity. Yes.
So we cannot look at you and say, take it easy the way you are
eating. Exactly.
Taking noodles these days.
And then we said also stigma. Even that stigma itself is enough to all those things contribute, like the taking of noodles, the pastas and all that. You're taking highly refined foods. But we're saying that the fact that I'm not taking those things, probably I'm making healthy food choices, and you're still obese, does not exonerate you. It's not your fault, but we're saying it's a disease. Not only is it a disease, it's a risk factor of other diseases.
Okay, well, let's go on a quick break here. When we come back, we're still discussing obesity. Just stay tuned.
Rivers people, now who we go to?
All right, welcome back now. 2:27 on the clock, and of course we are discussing obesity. And remember, I told you that World Obesity Day is coming up on 4th March. That's Saturday. And of course, the idea is to kickstart discussions about obesity everywhere, the end game is to encourage positive action, right? The theme for this year is changing perspectives. Let's talk about obesity. And of course, Dr. Affiong John and Dr. Lilian Ozumba, consultant family physicians, they're in the studio from the Obesity Society of Nigeria and Society of Lifestyle Medicine. And they're telling us that obesity can be caused by a number of things. So many factors can contribute to a person becoming obese. They're saying it's not just that you're eating too much, or that you're sleeping too much, or that you've had plenty children. A lot of other things can lead to obesity. So we're going to talk about, because we're going to talk about some form of cure or management for obesity. But before we do that, off the mic, I was asking you some about PCOS and how it relates to obesity.
Okay, I just mentioned that obesity is a disease, right? And I also said that it's a risk factor for several other diseases. Common, one of them is PCOS, that is polycystic ovarian syndrome. Now, there's a relationship between insulin resistance. Now, insulin resistance means that usually when you're managing your sugars, your carbohydrates, the body releases insulin for the cells to take up one. Now, what is resistance? It means the body says insulin and cells is not responding. Saying, look, so the body now keeps pushing insulin. Oh yeah, do your work, but there's a resistance to those things. Now, yes, when the number of cells, there's insulin resistance, and this has been linked to part of the cause of this pathogen, the development of PCOS. So obesity is really linked to it. And one of these, unfortunately, for many participants, the drugs used also help to cause more. About knowing that, okay, fine, these drugs are side effects, and that's why we always ask patients, ask your doctor, these drugs you're giving to me, what are the likely side effects of something gain? You now I already have a predisposed to gain weight, so this is what I'm going to do to see if I can reduce, even if I'm not able to completely stop it, at least reduce the gain in weight. So we're saying that apart from PCOS, you have diabetes, you have hypertension, you have cardiovascular diseases linked to obesity.
Okay, interesting. Well, in case you have any questions about obesity, please do well to send a message via WhatsApp to 0809 030 6416. 0809 030 6416. Now, when Dr. Ozumba was talking, she said not eating is not like a cure for obesity. So you're saying that someone who feels that they are overweight can now decide, okay, let me start fasting. At least fasting my breakfast and lunch, then I'll eat dinner, or breakfast and dinner and eat lunch so that I can reduce my weight and cure my obesity. Are you saying it's not possible?
Well, it's not that leads to market. And just as we have earlier said that a lot of factors come to play to cause obesity, so also a lot of things or activities are put in place to contribute to manage left from. What's the information out there that has been seen earlier? That obesity is a disease. It's easier to begin to help people to understand, oh, I must take care of this. I must seek information. I must seek treatment for its control. So where do we start from? What's the information out there for people? Let's start with our homes, where everybody comes from a home, and in every home there are meals out there. How much information does the parents or the cook, how much information about making healthy food choices? Everybody, if you're conscious about it, our vegetables are not so expensive. If you look at it,
ugu is very scarce these days.
You can get one and plant in a bucket just in front of your house there. So you see, you can't overemphasize the importance of having these things. So from our homes, our parents, how much information they have, because if they have good information and they make good food choices, then they can also make those choices for their children. Physical activity, how much of do we allow them? Do we allocate time for them to play? Physical activity, it's important.
I don't want them to get hurt.
Oh,
I don't have a compound for them to
please, they can just get one space in the house. There are so many things. I can remember
we're squatting with a neighbor.
You're squatting with a neighbor. I'm sure you can find a way. Really, there's a solution in everything.
But the schools also have a role to play in this.
Okay.
The children go to school. I don't remember. You have a younger generation. When we're going to school, we went outside for break
The
times.
break period, yes.
And you
It's
played.
still on.
Yes.
And it was, no, these days it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and that, it's over.
I'm telling
We had
you.
longer time. We played all kinds of play.
Really?
And physical play.
Yeah.
But these days the schools
It's computer play.
and we're going from morning till about 4 o'clock. The children are still in school, they're learning. They come back home, they're doing homework.
Home lessons.
Then they're doing lessons at home. And then after that, they eat Indomie
And go to bed.
and go to bed.
So
And
where's
then
the
they
physical
watch
activity
they
there?
watch TV.
Then they watch TV.
TV. Sedentary.
And TV has been found to be an independent risk factor. So you see, anything you're doing is promoting obesity.
But talking about children playing, let's just dwell here for a moment, right? Are you not encouraging that a child who has not really been paying attention in class should not be playing when he should be sitting down and studying his books?
That's why we said allocate time for these things. Time to study, time to do house chores, time to play. And besides, how they say it?
All work and no play
makes Peter
Jack.
dull.
She said Peter because we're looking at Peter Obi on the TV. That's what just happened.
So you see, that's why it's a deliberate. It must be a deliberate effort by you to see that these things happen. Otherwise, truly, there's no time. But you create the time.
Okay. So, how best then can one manage obesity?
So, like we are done with the home and even the school. So the school should have, these days schools build their structures on half plot of land. There's no space to play. These children need play time. It's important for their well-being. Let's go to our workplaces.
Okay.
What the employers, how much do they know? So that's where we are still at. The information and educational materials up there. How much do we know? As an employer knows, he put those things in place to ensure that there's a healthy workplace for his employers. Then what about the employees? His employees? What about the employees? How much they also know? So information is key. Doing the right thing and observing things that will bring out a change in those persons living with obesity. Let's go to government policies. If they would make the policies that will trickle down to the list of things, for example, putting tax on those factory fitted foods like those canned drinks. Now, instead of us take oranges from our orchard, we take them from the packs. If they can tax those things, high tax, by the time you think about importing those things, you think twice when you have to pay all those tax. So policy trickle down to those things would help curb people going to the shelves to buy foods that are high in fats, sugar and salt, and that will also reduce obesity on the long run.
But people will start abusing the government.
No, normal.
The normal food that people are eating, because people can afford it, that's why you are making it hard. See the way you are suffering the poor masses.
Not the normal food. Not normal food. That's your reorientation we're talking about. The change perspective we're talking about. When they understand that these things would affect their health adversely, over time they will accept it. And truly, a leader, it's nothing you do that. So yes, we expect them to abuse. But when they know how useful those policies are, everybody will readjust. That's
Okay.
just it.
So we could also say government should also focus on agriculture.
Yes, important. Which I feel they are doing already by giving some loans to farmers, all those fertilizer things, loans and all that. But it should cut across, because if it was evenly distributed, then the subsistence farmer can get those things and also plant things that consumers can get easily. So yes, and even policy making on for schools.
Okay.
Those schools that will come and build structures on a half plot of land, they should preach against it, or they should not give them what they call them, all those approvals.
I think the River State government, there's actually there's a law to that effect.
So,
there's a structure you're expected to have,
and
space for children to play and all
good,
that.
and they should ensure that they see the curriculum that shows that children have a good time to play, because children need that. They need to move about. If they know these things as children, when they grow up, they are unlikely to depart from those activities that have kept them fit so far.
All right, interesting. Well, we'll talk about how else one can avoid obesity, especially if it already runs in your genes. Talking about the family where you come from. All right, so let's get to the phone lines and hear your questions for the doctors in the studio. The number to call is 070-0923-0923 070-0923-0923. And then you can send your messages across. Send them via WhatsApp to 0809-030-6416. Good afternoon. I am a slim girl. When I eat well, my belly gets big. But when I have not eaten, my belly is flat. Sometimes, when I am going for an event and I know that if I eat, my belly would get big and also ruin my dress, I just starve. I just end up wearing jean polo all the time. I am tired of it. Do you know the cause and solutions? That's the first question here. Second person says, help me ask the doctor the right food timetable for a diabetic patient. Timetable? Seriously? Oh, wow. Okay, what is the difference between obesity and... Oh, come on, darling. He's asking obesity and thick madam. I don't even know what that means. Okay, so let's start with the very first person who is complaining about having big tummy after she has eaten well.
Well, you see, that's why sometimes to assess things on the radio is difficult. Because first of all, the question we want to ask her is, how old is this person? Because, you know, when you are in midlife, from 40 and above, there is a tendency for fat to be accumulated in the abdomen.
Oh.
Yes, it's hormonal. That's why we keep saying, meet the doctor that understands obesity. The measures you use for a 26-year-old to combat obesity is not the same measure you use for a 46-year-old, because what's happening to them is different. So that's why I said it's difficult to give a blanket on radio, because we need to know how old is this person, first of all. And you know, when you say I eat well, the truth is that many of us are eating much more than we need.
The food sweet die. So you want to now sit down there and eat it and die.
And eat it well. So you see, they are eating much more than they need. So those are the questions you want to find out. When you say eat well, what does that mean? That's not, you've not said anything. You've just said I eat well. Well may mean I eat and eat and eat again. And then also, apart from that too, you now realize that if you have a tendency to have this body fat, and it means that it could also mean that the muscles are a bit lax. So now we need to know, this person, has she given birth? What's wrong? What's happening to muscles? You know?
She says, I'm turning 22 this year.
Okay, she's turning 22 this year. That's a young person. So those are the questions we need to find out. It means that she may need to have to exercise her muscles to know that those muscles don't expand at every little thing. So those are the issues. Like I said, it's a holistic thing. You need to see the person, understand. You individualize the management of obesity to the particular patient or the particular person with all the characteristics of that particular person that you manage it.
All right. So how about alcohol use?
Okay. Now, alcohol is one thing that has raised a lot of controversies. Now, the body uses, we know that when we're getting energy for food, the body, we have the fats, the protein, the carbohydrates, right? And alcohol. Now, the body does not have a way to store alcohol. It will always break it down. So it breaks it down to get some form of energy. And so you see that alcohol helps obesity to some extent. But the question is, what with your alcohol? Because a little alcohol, now
say a little. Some people will tell you that they know they are gay.
Do you understand? That's all the questions. That's why
5 bottles. That's my gauge.
That's the thing. So we usually would say that more than 1 drink a day for a man. You understand? Not more than, I think, 1-2 drinks a day. Then we have for females.
Are you talking a glass of alcohol?
There are measurements for those things. There are measurements depending on the type. You know, alcohol is in different types. You have the beer, you have... So those things are measured depending on the strength of the alcohol. So we cannot measure, for example, whiskey at the same...
That's taken in shots.
Yes, in shots with beer. Because whiskey is so you see that the alcoholic content of the drink depends on the type of drink.
Okay. So
that's how it's measured. Usually, that's why I would like to say that it's important that, even though I don't want to go into alcohol controversies now, because we could take our time out of what we came for, really. So what we're saying is that as much as possible, minimize your alcohol intake. If you must deal with not just obesity, other issues of your health, as much as possible.
Minimize your alcohol intake. All right. Hi, I try to put vegetable in my food and they don't eat it. What do I do? This is coming from Ene.
Now, like my colleague said, is basically orientation. You remember that all these other things are sweet taste, so the children will tend to like them. I mean, sugar is sweet and processed food is nice, at least to get both. So you keep trying. That makes something different each time. If you insist, when the children have come to realize that people, this is what is terrible, most times, especially if you start early, they tend to follow your ways. When they find out that this is what's available,
if you don't eat this, you're not eating. That's your food.
That's your food.
That's
And
your lunch.
You keep telling them also, the children need to know, because we're trying to tell children, especially the teenage children, that is how tomorrow. It, as much as we believe in aesthetics, how you look, that's not even the problem. It's your health. But whatever you're sowing now, when you grow, you reap it. So we need to keep telling people, telling mothers, telling parents, telling the children, telling the schools, let's talk about obesity.
That's interesting. All right, 070-0923-0923, 070-0923-0923. We're discussing obesity. Do you have any issues? Do you have any worries? Do you have any questions that you need clarification on? Do well to call in. You can also send a message via WhatsApp to 0809-030-6416, 0809-030-6416. So, you've touched on, you've highlighted what people can actually do to avoid obesity. Now, for someone who is pregnant and their body is changing, there is nothing they can do about it. I am pregnant, getting bigger. And you said that obesity in the mother can affect the child in the future. So what can I do? I don't want anything.
Now, when you talk about maternal baby, it's expensive. Can you understand? It's expensive. It's to wait by so much. It's time to look back. What I've discovered is that people don't say like,
That's what the baby wants.
So, is you still healthy food choices? She said so. Healthy food choices. If the baby is dragging you to go and eat only sugar, tell the baby no. Mommy knows better than you do. So
but when I see carrots, when I see vegetables, I feel like throwing up.
That may be for the first maybe few months of pregnancy, right?
Okay.
Most times, all that comes off towards the end of pregnancy, and with pregnancy, it's worse towards the end of pregnancy. That's the truth. So healthy food choices, and then secondly, when you are gaining this weight, it also even tell you if your weight gain is way beyond what is expected for, that age of pregnancy and all that. So you need to at least check your choices and then increase your physical.
In addition to what I call it, what was the weight before pregnancy? Helping conception. Okay. And say a woman comes for the weight before pregnancy, it can be controlled such that we know that it's just the body fat added during pregnancy that we would have during that pregnancy, and that can be curtailed. So what was the weight before pregnancy? That can be taken care of before one gets pregnant, and then we follow up from there. And of course, after pregnancy, the work continues, living the healthy lifestyle continues. So it should continue before pregnancy, during pregnancy, and after pregnancy. It's a lifelong thing.
All right. So it's not something you wait for a particular time to do. All right. Well, of course, we're still discussing obesity, and this is because World Obesity Day is coming up on Saturday, but conference already started. You can join the conversation. Please, what diet should one eat to avoid onset of diabetes? I'm sure when I introduced them, I did not know what pronunciations.
No.
I said family.
We're family physician, and I'm a lifestyle medicine physician.
Okay.
So that question is not a problem.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
The issue with diabetes, just like obesity, is a multifactorial thing.
All right.
The fact that you have diabetes in your family, you need to alter your lifestyle. And that consists of a lot of other things. It's not just diet. The thing is, as important as nutrition and diet is, your overall lifestyle is very important. Now, what kind of diet do you want to take? There is not, like I keep saying, it's not a one size fits all. But basically, you must also reduce high-fat diet. You must make your diet more of whole foods, plant-based diet. That is the diet that has been shown to reduce the incidence of diabetes. So avoid processed foods, reduce your intake of animal foods, and increase plant-based diet. And apart from that, about your entire lifestyle, what's physical activity like? So you may be doing the best diet and you're not having good physical activity, or you're not sleeping well, or you're not managing stress. All that will help to bring on the onset of diabetes. So that's why we're saying it's not a one size fits all. You have to look at your entire life and reduce your entire life.
Okay. Let's talk about the stigma surrounding obese people or obesity. You were how does stigma affect or body shaming? Let's say you're fat. You not say you are fat, you're not crying. Why are you crying? Are you not fat?
When I think about it this way, that the society sees it as something not good, or sees it in a negative light, and every day you're taunted. Your friends and family are taunting you. Oh, you're fat, you're this. You keep hearing that even while you're sleeping. Subconsciously, you're hearing it. It will affect your mental health, and when that happens, it affects everything else. You're present, you're here, but you're not here. Absent-minded, and over time, one can become depressed or have anxiety issues, and it doesn't stop there. When care starts, the medicines you even take can even lead to weight gain that already you're having issues with. So it affects you. It affects your outlook. Some people now become they now have low self-esteem. They don't want to come out. They don't want people to see. They become introverts. They want to achieve anything else. And one of the pillars of lifestyle is social connectedness. Important to have family and friends, to be social. It helps you. It helps. And if you are okay mentally, it helps in everything else.
All right.
You live at home, the way you work at your workplace, and everything else. It does help with manner.
Okay, with this in mind, all right, the body shaming and stigma thing in mind, how about, to what extent now should we be encouraging or supportive of someone who is obese without, should I say, spoiling the person? All right, this child or this person is obese, but we are not telling you are fatty bum bum. My get up there and go and walk. Should we now be petting the person? So how do we balance it out to encourage this person to, I don't know.
Seek help.
Yeah.
Yes, first of all, is information. Now, we need to have correct information. For example, most as a doctor, patient to you because of some other issues, and I now make a diagnosis of obesity. Now, let's talk about obesity. You won't find out from this person. Okay, let's say you are in the family, the child is obese, and you've heard us. You want to find what actually is the problem. Now, for children, the parents make choices for them to that extent. So you're now saying, okay, fine, you can't have this, you can't have this. This is, you have of reducing the food intake and doing things you could do. But if it's an adult, the person understands obesity is a disease. Just somebody that has arthritis will go to the hospital. Now, because he has pain, that's where he's going. But obesity feels like I don't have any problem. So he doesn't understand, like, if he understands the disease, that's not one. Then he needs to seek help from the right place. People, obesity management is not a sprint. You want to wake up and social media, how this was verified.
Like a slim tea,
and
voila, woke up. Looking like me.
That's another problem we're having. So you see, that's what's coming out on the social media. And the person just wakes up and says, wow, in the next 1 month, if you see me, and she starts doing all kinds of things, and it doesn't work, and then she drops it. Do we realize that it is not even good to have that sudden weight loss? Your body will reject it. Your body has to have weight to regain, because your body will begin to work against you to make sure that you gain back that weight. And so you see people being frustrated. But I lost 30 pounds, I lost this, everything is all back.
All right, Dr. John, we'll be right back. Let's go on a quick break.
People go do
Hour. We're wrapping up now. Dr. John, let me get final take.
Okay, what we see has on deck to fight this menace that is destroying society.
Dr. Ozumba.
Well, everybody has a role to play in ensuring your neighbor is, if such one is living with obesity.
Okay.
You can do your lot by getting them and seeing it. Any information to come to hospital, we would readily give it to the person together and push obesity away.
All right, thank you very much, Doctors Affiong and Dr. Lilian Ozumba, consultant family physicians, the Obesity Society of Nigeria and Society of Lifestyle. Right, that's it on the sunny side. Follow us on social media at Nigeria page for Twitter and Nigeria _PA for Instagram. You can also visit our website at www.fm. You can also stream I Constant Girl for Twitter and Constance Mega for Instagram and LinkedIn.